Now there's a layer in Jung above that, the persona, which is essentially that which we then display in various situations. So, the structure of the psyche according to Carl Jung. For Jung, as for Freud, the psyche is, on the first level, split between the ego and the unconscious. So the ego as a sort of standing in here and in this simplified proposition for that which we call consciousness is distinct by the characteristics of the ability to consciously recall its contents. So to say, well, I am this, I am that, X, Y, Z, I do this, I like doing that. So those are contents that we think are true of ourselves, right? That's very fundamental. The ego essentially tells a story of that we think, that we take to be us, that we take to be true. Now there's a layer in Jung above that, the persona, which is essentially that which we then display in various situations. So the persona may differ, depending if you're with your partner, if you're with your loved ones, your very close family, or if you're in a public situation, the persona may differ. You can think of the persona to some extent as a mask. A mask you put on. Right now I'm putting on this mask, then I go to the gym, I put on the other mask, then I go to there. So there's a difference in masks that you can choose from. And the ego would be let's say the underlying reality in quotation marks, because the ego fundamentally has no reality. Jung says the ego is the subjective core of the psyche. So it is that which we, let's say, assume, the elements of reality we assume as our own. We integrate into a linear narrative that is coherent, at least as it is portrayed to ourselves. And now you see a distinction that I always like to highlight and comment in other videos between that which perceives, so that which says, oh, the ego is coherent, or the ego seems coherent, and the ego itself. So the ego, you already see, is not what we are, right? And also not what perceives, right? And those are, again, two distinct things in Jung. So it is quite important here to note that.